Hello and welcome back to another super heavyweight chess battle between two chess legends. Sitting at the left corner, it is Garry Kasparov playing this game as white, former world chess champion and of course chess legend, one of the greatest of all time. And sitting at the right corner and playing as black, Magnus Carlsen, world chess champion, former of course, and one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest by many considered today. In this exciting chess game, both players tried to give their best in order to win, but one of those players got the best of the other. I will not, of course, reveal the result. But before we go into this amazing chess game, I would kindly ask of you to like this video and subscribe if you enjoy my content. And as well, if you enjoy chess in general and you want to improve, I have a really nice community I'm a part of. So do check it out. In the description of this video, you will see a small sign, Get Better at Chess. Check it out, you will not regret it. So with that being said, let's go straight into the game. Garry Kasparov opened the game with c4. We have knight to f6 for Magnus, knight to c3 and g6 played for black. Game continued with e4 for Kasparov, grabbing the center, and we have d6 for Magnus Carlsen. After d4 and bishop g7, we are finally into the King's Indian defense. Now Garry continues with knight to f3, Magnus castles, and we have bishop to e2, another developing move. And right now Magnus doesn't wait and he plays e5, immediately striking in the center with the thematic, of course, grab of this pawn. Now, as I mentioned, you know that if this happens, then this happens, and if this, for example, and if this trade happens here for black, it looks like this can be taken for free. But as you all know, black has this amazing trick, and after you pick up, black will pick up your knight, and of course we all know that this is not a free pawn and black has a slightly better position. So after e5, that is the reason why this free pawn, so-called, is not free. Garry continues with bishop to e3, and we have e takes on d4, and after that we have knight picking up on d4 for Garry. Magnus continues with c6. His idea is to later push for d5. f3 for Garry Kasparov, now aiming simply to protect this pawn on e4. Rook to e8 for Magnus Carlsen, and right now we have bishop to f2, which is a really useful move, since now d5 was possible and this bishop on e3 would be very vulnerable because of this rook here on e8. Game continued with d5. Magnus continues anyways with his plan, and right now we have a trade in the center, c takes on d5, and for now Garry Kasparov didn't want to trade and he decided to play for c5. Game continued with knight to c6 for Magnus. Magnus now wants to challenge this knight, and for now Garry castles. He doesn't want to trade, he wants to allow Magnus to trade, but under, of course, his conditions. We have knight to h5 for Magnus Carlsen. Now Magnus Carlsen has this idea, putting this knight on f4, of course after bringing this bishop and challenging this white squared bishop. For now we have queen to d2, trying to stop this knight, but after this Magnus continues with his idea. He plays a bishop to e5, he definitely wants to put this knight there, and right now Garry is forced to play, I mean he's not forced, but he decided to play g3. You simply don't want to allow this knight to jump on f4 there, but now this allowed creating holes on these white squares, which allowed Magnus to play bishop h3 and attack this rook. We have rook f to e1, and right now we have knight to g7. Now after rook f to e1, a recommended move for Magnus Carlsen was a6 to stop these knights from jumping onto b5 square. Game continued with rook a to d1 for Garry Kasparov, and right now we have a rook to c8 played by Magnus Carlsen. Unfortunately, this was a bad move, simply because this allows knight d going on b5, and again a6 was best move for Magnus in this position. Now this allowed knight d to b5, which Garry of course uses, and right now Magnus played a6, but it is a bit too little too late, because right now knight to d6 comes and these two rooks are forked, and basically Magnus is now forced to trade this. Bishop takes on d6, and after c takes on d6, Magnus decided, since this pawn is already hanging, to play d4 and at least try and get a bishop or remove a bishop pair from his opponent. After c takes on d6, if you thought that queen picking up on d6 is good, actually it's not, because simply knight takes on d5, and this is a strategically completely won game for white, because right now computer gives evaluation almost 3 points for white. If the trade happens, white will have a bishop pair with an open position and a brilliant game. So it would be really hard here for Magnus to play. Of course, this knight cannot be taken. Garry can put his knight on f4, for example, and this is a much better here position for white. So this is the reason why after c takes on d6, d4 was played for Magnus, and right now Garry of course doesn't want to take, and he plays knight to e4. We have bishop to f5 trying to take this knight. After this, we have another brilliant move by Garry Kasparov. Again, d7, now forking these two rooks again, practically forcing black to take. Magnus did it with bishop takes on d7. After queen takes on d7, this was not a possibility because knight to f6, weakness around our squares, and this is a royal fork. Your queen will be lost. So d7 was after d7, bishop d7 was a must, and right now we have a bishop picking up on d4 for Garry Kasparov. For now, Magnus decided to pick up this bishop, and after queen takes on d4, Magnus was in a really difficult position because right now this bishop is hanging. Also, knight to f6 is hanging with a really powerful threats here for Garry Kasparov. In this position, knight to f5 was played for Magnus, attacking this queen, but after queen takes on d4, let's say rook e7 was played for Magnus. This simply doesn't work because after knight to f6 check, king goes on h8, again knight picking up on d7, and there is no way of stopping the losing of your piece. So after queen takes on d4, knight to f5 was played for Magnus, attacking this queen. Of course, this leave this bishop free for taking. Bishop queen takes on d7. For now, Magnus of course doesn't want to take because he is a piece down. He continues with a queen b6 check, king goes on h1, and after that rook e to d8 was played for Magnus, trying his best to avoid trades and trying to push away this queen. Of course, we have queen to a4 played for Kasparov. A rook trades on d1, a queen picks up on d1, and right now Magnus picks up this pawn. He tries to create some sort of a counterplay, but it is really difficult since you are a piece down. The situation is clear. A queen to b1 is played for Garry. Garry now practically forces white to trade. If you don't trade, your pawn will be lost. This queen cannot be moved somewhere where it can protect this pawn. It's really difficult. So rook to c2 was played for Magnus. Of course, queen takes on b2, rook takes on b2, and bishop c4 was played for white, with the idea to protect this pawn, of course, and also to aim at this pawn as well. After knight to d4 for Magnus, rook e3 was played for Garry Kasparov, and in this position on the move 32, Magnus Carlsen decided to resign. Simply there is nothing you can do here. The position is clear. White is simply a piece up, and he will slowly but surely create a passed pawn, and he will win a game, especially playing at this time against Garry Kasparov. This was a sure loss, even if you are Magnus Carlsen. And this is all I have prepared for you today, guys, and this is how this amazing game ended. If you enjoyed this game, please make sure to leave a comment and share your thoughts about this game. Have I missed something analysis, and did you enjoy this game? Also, make sure to check out description. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, you have a wonderful community of chess players who want to grow chess. If you want to improve your chess elo, for example, you want to reach it to 1000, 1500, 2000, definitely a place you should visit. Check the description, you will see a sign, Get Better at Chess. Also, if you like to say anything else, comment about this position, about some other position, or if you wish to give me some other suggestions about my channel, I would gladly accept it, and I will gladly want to view your comments. For everything else, I'm always here, and I wish you guys a pleasant evening. Bye bye.